Hello everybody, I'm Cantonese Cat. Everybody, Cantonese Cat here. We're going to go through Bitcoin, altcoins, some of the selected ones. I'm going to talk a little bit more in detail about what I think's going on. This is Bitcoin. Here on the weekly chart, you can see that there's really not much bearish about it right now. It's a very, very powerful bull trend, and it's going through this consolidation over here that's necessary to digest this big giant bull trend here. Right now, you have reclaimed the Tenkan here as support, and that's usually a pretty bullish thing. Whenever it kind of dips underneath the Tenkan here, it kind of reclaims it as support. Generally, this is something that's pretty bullish. You know, kind of like how it did over here. Dipped down underneath of it, it just kind of broke right through, and it just kind of went up to the next level here. Do I think it's going to go sideways here for a very long time, like it did over here for almost like the entire year of 2024, like almost the entire year, or the entire half of the year for 2023. Do I think it has to go through something brutal like this? No, I think this is very, very similar to what we're seeing over here. There are quite a few reasons as to why I think that. I think the morphology in terms of the Tenkan and Kishin are very, very similar. Here you have a katana. Here you don't really quite have a katana, but the idea is pretty much the same, right? Here you kind of basically got rejected with the cloud, but you broke through, and here basically just back testing the cloud over here. So I think it's doing exactly what it needs to do in terms of technicals. You also got really close to the Bull support band over here. It didn't really quite touch, right? Very, very similar morphology between these two areas over here. Whereas this one got underneath, broke underneath, and then broke through. This got underneath, and broke through, right? Very similar in terms of where you're at here and here. I think the next step is going to be to push up here moving forward. And if you're looking at the Gann chart here, trying to find some market symmetry, I can kind of show you where we're at right now. I think right now we have gotten pushed through the arc over here. We got inside the arc. Again, I'm going to show you I think we're at, there's a lot of support underneath. I don't think we're going to have to come back and back test any of the support down underneath, but there's plenty of support here. At the bottom of the angle here is around 96,000. Next week's going to be around 98,000. So you have like increasing support. The arc over here is a little bit different, right? Arc is about 100.5. Next week's going to be maybe 100.2 or something like that, right? So you have plenty of support around here. Show it, decide to come back down and test support. They are there. You also have the Ichimoku Tenkan over here too, around 99,260, right? So you got a lot of these kind of support level down here below, a lot of confluence. I don't think it's really dipped down too much further. Show it. It also got a better support band down here around the 88s, right? So I don't think it needs to do any of that. I think it's finding some pretty confluent support. Look at how strong this confluent support level is. Maybe it wants to even wait for this angle and the arc here touch before shooting up higher. You know, I don't know. And you're also looking at a different Gann here, drawn in a different way, but also using very, very standard metrics. You can see how it just bounced the bottom of the of this range over here, right? The top arc over here, perfect bounce, is trying to break through. How many cans did touch this area? Number 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, right? It looks like it wants to break through here, but so far we're still getting rejected. The area over here is around 104.8, 104.9, somewhere around there. And so far we've been kind of rejected here multiple times here. We'll see whether or not we push through, but we are at a resistance level. But again, you have plenty of other resistance levels above here too. Depends on where it hit. 114 to 113, on top of the arc over here. Around here, if you break through the current horizontal level around 105, I'm just going 105, then you can potentially have some resistance around like 117, 118, so around there. This is another Gann here that I have. Here's another Gann that I have here. This illustrates the frustration very well. It basically is stuck inside the arc over here like it was over here, and it's just trying to break above the range, right? If you zoom in over here, you can see that it's just basically trying to break through here, but it's just having a little bit of a hard time to do that. On top of the range right here is maybe around 107. And then another area here, which is again like 118, 117, so around there. Those are going to be some resistance levels above. I think it's trying to break through. It's just building up more energy and trying to do that. And I think it's going to do that on the back of this, rising Tenkan over here. We'll see. I think we're getting close. I don't think we have to have any like rug pull or anything. If it ends up doing that, I just told you some of the support levels underneath there. But looking pretty decent here. I think a lot of things are also waiting for Bitcoin to do its thing before they do their things. one of which is Ethereum. If you look at Ethereum, yeah, is it lagging? Heck yeah, it's lagging. But I cannot be bearish on this chart, on its own, because on the chart on its own is actually looking pretty good. The chart on its own is actually basically just kind of broke through the Ichimoku out here very impulsively, but got a little bit too far too fast, got rejected here at the 0.886 lock fib here, got rejected because if you break through 0.86, you're talking about some all-time high, so it just wasn't ready. So ended up coming back down here to back test the cloud here, went a little bit too aggressively here, got underneath the cloud, broke through back into the cloud, and now you're basically doing a perfect back test of the Ichimoku cloud, if you will, right? And also the Kijun down here below. The entire time is building up a lot of energy, and this look right here compared to last cycle, I think this is actually a little bit more bullish in terms of how fast it got through the fit level. It's just a little bit too far, too fast, too early in the cycle. So we end up getting punished for it. I think that's probably what happened. You look at the monthly here, again, this is not a bad look because this is how a stock like Palantir did exactly this, where it just kind of pushed through the cloud. The Palantir didn't really hit the cloud, but it pushed through the cloud. And you have the bullish crossover here, back test the kitchen, and then push through and back test the tank in here. It looks like this thing is ready to go next month. It really looks like it's ready to go. I know this is kind of crazy for people who are like looking at Ethereum, just done nothing for the entire year, to say, oh, it's just going to go. Like, what does that even mean? It's not shown you that it can do anything. Well, with the exception that if you look at the thing about from a cycle behavior, is this cycle like different from last cycle? Not really. I would say that this actually is looking more bullish compared to over here. The reason why I say that is because if you look at the FIP levels from last cycle, from the top here to the bottom here, it even have a hard time breaking about 0.618, right? By October, it had a hard time breaking about 0.618. Here, this cycle so far, immediately I just want to go to 0.86, right? We just got rejected here and to come back test to 0.618. Here we have a hard time breaking through 0.618, so I actually think that this cycle is a little bit more bullish compared to the last one. This look over here is basically what Coinbase is doing, right? Is basically what Coinbase is doing in terms of pushing, got a bullish cross here, push through, back test the Tenkan, push through, back test the Kijun, back test the Kijun here, push through, back test the Tenkan. This thing looks like it wants to run. This look also looked very, very similar to Palantir here, where it had a bullish cross, right? Push through, back test both Tenkan and Kijun, push back up, back test the Kijun, back test the Tenkan here again, and they just kind of went parabolically up. I think Ethereum is kind of having a very, very similar setup here, so I'm not bearish on Ethereum. Matter of fact, I'm a holder. I'm not really buying anymore because I like to buy DOGE coins. I'm going to talk a little bit about DOGE coins here a little bit, but I just cannot be bearish on it based on like the fit levels that I'm seeing, based on everything else that I'm seeing. I just cannot really be that bearish on this chart, right? Looking at the monthly Gann chart here, I do think that this area over here is very, very, very similar to where this area is over here. I do think that this is like before the, I'm going to turn on the Ichimoku because it's a little bit distracting. You can see how I was having a hard time breaking through the arc here. Got rejected at the top of the arc, came back down, back test the arc here, got rejected once, and then just pushed through, right? Where does it go after it pushes through? To the next arc up here. Got rejected here, come back down, didn't really quite touch this arc over here, and then came back up here, got rejected once here, and then we got rejected twice here so far by this building of energy like with over here. I think once it busts through, it could keep going up and potentially grab it up to the next level here, which could be going as high as like 30,000 or 40,000. I think is entirely possible. If it ends up getting stopped short here, which it can, then you would talk about anywhere at least like 1,000. Sorry, not at least 1,000. At least 10,000, 14,000. I think those are some pretty reasonable target. But if it breaks through, then all hell breaks loose. I mean, I think a lot of people underestimate how irrational the bull market can be, and it can certainly make another one of these moves over here. Now, you saying Ethereum hasn't really proven to you that it's going to do that. It always does that before it just goes parabolic, right? It's proving time and time again that it can. So I don't know what the people talk about narratives and how, oh, look at how it underperformed over the last year or two. Like this exact same thing happened last cycle and the cycle before that. So I'm not going to worry about that. Like whoever says that, just that's a bad argument. Doesn't mean that you're wrong. It's just a bad argument. XRP, what is it waiting for? It's waiting for Bitcoin. I was talking about how Bitcoin has a lot of resistance levels about, right? It's talking about 104.8, 104.9. 107, 113, 114, and 117, 118, right? Well, XRP is waiting for that. It could end up waiting for you for quite some time, maybe for a couple months, maybe for longer, but it's waiting for Bitcoin to break out. It looks like it wants to break out, it just hasn't yet. But yeah, maybe it's just kind of waiting for Bitcoin to do its thing, kind of like how Ethereum is waiting for Bitcoin to do its thing over here, right, before going up. Kind of like how Doge is also waiting for the same thing. Now, Doge is better to be examined using the weekly chart here. I think where we are at right now is very similar to where we are over here. You can see how it's stuck inside the arc over here underneath the angle, stuck inside the arc over here underneath the angle, building up into energy, trying to push through. If you just zoom in over here, just look at how perfect bounce is off at the bottom of the arc over here, right, so far. There's really nothing wrong with the Doge chart. I just think that it's been consolidating a little bit longer than what it did last cycle, which is also a rationale for me to think this cycle may be a little bit longer. But we'll see. Right now, again, the same thing here, right? You're stuck between 0.618 and 0.786 here. Very, very similar area where we were during last cycle when we were inside the arc over here underneath the angle, stuck between the 0.61 and 0.786. The exact same thing. How far to go after that? Well, push through to the second arc, right? Push through one arc and went to the next arc, right? Do I think it's going to end up doing that? Not necessarily, but just kind of give you an idea. Whenever things go really bullish here, it can go crazy, right? It went to close to 1.618 here. It ultimately just kind of also to 1.414, right? And then it consolidated here for a couple of months, and it just went up to the next arc, which is going to be around 2.272, which is what the last cycle ended up doing, right? If you imagine what we're going to do if you're using very, very similar ways to think about it, if it breaks two arcs and it gets to like the $70 range, I mean, like, that's insane. I don't think that's going to happen, right? I think there's going to be some diminished return. You might end up hitting the arc up here, maybe a little bit higher. I don't know exactly. If you're going to look at the FIP level, I certainly think it's possible for it to hit like $4. Is it possible that it hit 11 instead of hitting a FIP level? It hits a horizontal up here, and that's where the cycle ends. Possibly. Do I think it's going to hit the 2.272 like it did last cycle? Probably not. It doesn't really fit the market symmetry anyway. Can it wake all the way up there and just kind of get plummeted? Obviously it can. You know, I just don't think this hierarchy is going to hit. I think maybe $4. I'm thinking that's kind of what I'm thinking here, but we'll see. Like, it can, whenever things get just really crazy, it can just go parabolic. It doesn't have to listen to what I have to say. Shiba is in a very, very tough spot here. But anyway, Doge is waiting for Bitcoin to push up before pushing through 0.786, before pushing through the arc, before pushing through the angle. That's what Doge is waiting for. Shiba is a little bit in an awkward spot. It's a little bit underperforming Doge, but there's nothing really wrong with it. If you look at the 2 Ichimoku, it's basically just kind of testing the bottom of the 2 Ichimoku cloud over here almost perfectly, right? It broke down underneath the bonus support band. Again, things break down underneath the bonus support band all the time like it did over here. I don't care, right? It can do that over and over again. It's just been oscillating around. Because I'm bullish on Bitcoin, because I'm bullish on overall crypto market, I still think that Shiba is going to be a pretty decent buy. Again, it's underneath the Ichimoku, right? But I still think that Shiba is going to be a pretty decent buy here. Regardless, because I still think this is a bull trend. This is still a riding up on a 20-month moving average, right? And the upper Bollinger Band is still continue to kind of expand here a little bit. And so far, you have two red candles here. They're both inside candles. This green candle over here. A lot of things tell me that the energy it wants to go up. Look at how many like inside candles we have so far over here, right? A lot of energy is being built up here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 inside candles to this big giant green candle over here. You've been consolidating for close to a year after you have a big giant green candle over here around March of 2024. This is quite remarkable. The primary trend is up, right? So this is really just consolidation sideways. I think it's going to end up doing pretty decent here. Now, if you ask me about the other meme coins, I'm actually not as bullish on BONK. BONK is it's a little bit sad to me because I actually think that a lot of gains have already been made. You know, all the way from here, all the way up to here, you already knocked off like a lot of zeros. So a lot of games have already been made. I think it might end up going sideways. It might even back testing it. It might go up here higher to the next arc, or maybe even horizontal here. I just don't know whether or not it's going to go like crazy like it did before. If this whole thing right here is a reaccumulation, they could potentially push up here to the arc up here. It could knock off another zero and go make another 30x. But I just don't know whether or not it has to, because a lot of gains have already been made. So I'm a little bit worried about something like this. I probably won't buy a meme coin that has run up a lot, in the cycle. PEPE is it's okay. I can see if it ends up being bullish, it can hit a couple of these targets up here above. The only thing I'm really more worried about PEPE is again, same thing. A lot of gains have already been made. Technically speaking, I'm gonna turn off all this here. Technically speaking, it already has 5 waves, so that's what made me really worry about it. This is wave 1, right? This is wave 2. Wave 3 starts here. This is wave 1 of 3. Wave 2 of 3, wave 3 of 3, wave 4 of 3, wave 5 of 3, right? And then you have your ABC correction, right? And then you already have your 5th wave, right? 1 of 5, 2 of 5, 3 of 5, 4 of 5, 5 of 5. You complete the whole set here. It doesn't have to make a higher high anymore based on early wave theory, because a lot of gains have already been made, right? Like it's already pushed through the most powerful phases of the bull trend. If I'm wrong, then you can hit some targets up here. If I'm right, there's a potential this might just keep on underperforming the other alts here, and a lot of people might be wondering why. I mean, I think that's why. But anyway, I still have my targets up here. If this whole thing ends up being just reaccumulation, this is also kind of how JASMY is looking to. So I'm going to give it a benefit of the doubt here. It is holding the Ichimoku cloud. This is kind of how JASMY is looking. So I'm going to give it a benefit of the doubt. It could push through. It could be an arc breaker, continue to just kind of break through arc and arc in this whole like alien wave 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and just don't worry about it, right? But I can see that. I'm okay with that. But just be a little bit careful on things that kind of made a lot of gains here. In addition to XRP, another stock that's actually not stock, another crypto is very, very bullish is that nobody's really talking about is HBAR. Has HBAR made this all-time high yet? No, it's getting close to it though, right? If you're looking at the top here to the bottom over here, I already have the fit level here. You can see how it's really trying to break about the 0.786, and it broke through the arc here, already backtested the arc. Like this is getting ready to go. This is getting ready to go. Maybe it's waiting for Bitcoin to break through the 0.86 and go a lot higher to the next arc up here, which is going to be like $1 next or $1.20 next, somewhere around there, right? But it looks like it's ready to go whenever it wants to go. It's already consolidated for about 2 months. Maybe it's just waiting for Bitcoin. I don't know. Maybe it's like a very, very similar story. XRP just waiting for Bitcoin before going up. But we're just digesting this whole giant move up here. So if I turn off all this stuff here, if I just do the monthly Bollinger Band, you can see that maybe we need a little bit more consolidation. Maybe because you're way outside the upper Bollinger Band, you got a little bit of trees at the top over here. XRP is actually not even that overextended, right? HBAR is, right? So if I look at a higher time frame, I'm looking at stuff like, okay, maybe it goes consolidate sideways even more here. Maybe we're not done yet. So I'm going to take that back here. I think that we might end up riding down to arc here a little bit longer to wait for monthly Bollinger Band to expand so you can go up higher. We are at some pretty good support here. And it's still a very, very bullish stock because it's just made a higher high. You just don't know how low the higher low is going to be. So yeah, we'll see. I'm a little bit worried based on looking at monthly Bollinger Band, but we'll see what happens. XLM, very similar story. Broke into 0.86, got rejected here. Have a hard time breaking above the 0.786 here, but it's not as overextended as HBAR. It's still touching the upper Bollinger Band here on the monthly. So I think that it's doing what is necessary. All these dinosaur coins looks like they're basically doing the same. They're waiting for Bitcoin to do something before they can push through. They already did a lot already, right? So they might actually end up lagging here for the next couple months or so before going up. But everything's waiting for Bitcoin. Solana is waiting for Bitcoin. It's waiting for Bitcoin to break through its previous all-time high over here. It still hasn't really had a close above that. So it's waiting for Bitcoin. Chainlink's waiting for Bitcoin. I got the Gann chart here with Chainlink. I really do think that Chainlink's going to do very well, because look at how beautiful this market symmetry is. How it kind of basically went from arc to arc here from 2018 to 2021. It broke arc number 1, 2, and 3, right? Went through arc number 3 over here, got rejected, came back down to arc below, consolidated sideways over here for about 4 years almost, right? And then you're able to break back above and break back inside to this arc over here. I do think that if it breaks about the arc, it's going to go up to an arc up here next. It's just going to be around $150 to $180, right? 150 to 180, I think it's going to be the cycle top for Chainlink. I think once it breaks through up here, it's going to go up there in a hurry. And when it breaks up there, we'll see how it reacts. Maybe that's going to be the cycle top, right? I don't necessarily expect it to just kind of break from arc or not and just go up to the next arc here to like 1,000. I don't think Chainlink's going to do that. But I think 150, 180 certainly seems to be possible this cycle, right? That's kind of what I'm thinking here, which actually fits the Fibonacci levels here. If you're not looking at the log fib, you're actually just looking at the linear fibs. You can see the 2.618 is 130, 3.618 is 180, and it's going to be up here somewhere around the arc, right? Look at the log fibs. Yeah, sure, I can see maybe 140. I can even see maybe 230. I think it's possible, right? But we need to break about the arc over here and also the horizontal zone over here. We also need to break about the 0.786, which we got really close but didn't really push through, as well as the 0.86, and then you can go up to the arc up here. But to be completely honest with you, if you're able to break through the arc, I think that's going to be the next natural level for it to go. It's going to be the arc above. ADA, very, very similar stories, waiting for Bitcoin. Also have, again, arc over here. I think right now we're a very, very similar spot over here, right, as we were maybe over here. So, or you can say maybe over here. What I think is going to happen is probably need to break above the arc here. It probably got rejected here briefly at the horizontal, and then it probably end up grabbing up to the arc up here around anywhere from like $7 to $10. Depends on where it hits. That's where I think ADA is going. It looks like it's certainly building a strong base over here to kind of shoot up like it did time and time again. Last cycle was just a little bit faster. This cycle is just a little bit slower. ADA is one of the early cycle coin last cycle, so I think it probably ended up getting burned out here maybe a little bit early as well. We'll see, but it's also looking a little bit more bullish compared to a lot of altcoins I'm looking at here. SUI, I never say this, Shui. People ask me to chart this thing over here. I'm going to chart it, but all I'm really seeing is like it's push through an arc here, back test an arc, push through an arc here, back test an arc, consolidating underneath the 1.618 over here. I don't know how much further it's going to have to go, but this is one of the more bullish charts here that I see if in all of crypto. I think most likely it's going to have some bullish continuation to go to the next arc, maybe even the arc after that to end the cycle here. But I just don't know like how much further it's going to go. It's already went from like 45 cents to like $4, or $5. It could potentially go up to like 20 or maybe a little higher. I don't know, but yeah, it's just taking a stepwise approach up here. The only thing that I'm a little bit worried about this one is that this is happening a little bit on like bullish bearish divergence, right? But I think bearish divergence is being worked out. How much further does it have to go in terms of RSI, in terms of price, before this thing completely cools off and is able to take off again? I don't know. All I know is just it's going up on a little bit in bearish divergence, so it needs to kind of correct here a little bit. But I do think that eventually it's going to push at least to this arc up here around $8, if not higher around the 20s. I do think that's probably going to happen. But it's not yet. Not yet. Needs to cool down. One that I'm pretty bullish on, I talk a lot about on X, is JASMY. I think JASMY, whenever people talking about this head and shoulder pattern right on the arc over here, I thought it was going to be a head and shoulder continuation pattern. Sure enough, it pushed through the arc up here. Sure enough, got rejected, came back with this angle over here and passed, right? During the entire time of this consolidation, you can see how the Ichimoku cloud over here, I'm going to turn off you can see a lot of confluence actually, how this is a very strong support zone, both in terms of the angle and the Ichimoku cloud, which is why we found support over there. But if I turn off the can here, you can see how market symmetry, beautiful, right? Rejection of the Ichimoku cloud, rejection of the Ichimoku cloud, push through the Ichimoku cloud here, got rejected at the top of the cloud, came back tested, bottom of the cloud, passed, right? For about 5 weeks in a row, then pushed through, shot through. What do you have to do? Well, a little bit way too far, way too fast, come back down, back test the Ichimoku cloud here, find support inside the cloud here, push back through, doing another back test here. Looks like we might be getting ready to go here soon, right? I think this is just one of the more bullish charts here. So I do have a position I'm holding. I don't really care to trade in and out these moves. I don't really care because ultimately I really do think that it's going to hit like 0.6 minutes, 0.786, which is going to be like maybe 7 or 8x, and this would be like maybe like 20x, like 18, 20x from here. I really see that happening. How this is going to break through into all-time highs? I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. I'm just going to be a little bit more like, I don't know. Right? Avalanche, AVAX, pretty decent chart here as well. It's holding the Ichimoku cloud here. It's doing kind of what Ethereum is doing. Break through the Ichimoku, broke back down, and then broke back out, and just kind of holding Ichimoku here. It's basically doing Ethereuming. That's kind of what it's doing. Which is not surprising. There's also an alternate, layer 1 or L1, very similar to like Solana, but it's consolidating over here. I think it's waiting for Bitcoin to give a signal to kind of push through a lot higher. But right now it's just kind of consolidating here at support. I'm not concerned about this chart here at all. If you do a fit level here, you can see how it got rejected here at the arc over here, right? Got rejected at the arc over here. Also got rejected at 0.618. Bit on energy here, finding support here, Ichimoku Cloud, finding support here, the bonus support band. I think it's going to push through 0.618, push through the arc here for good. And then probably end up getting some resistance here, 0.786 over here. But if you push through 0.786, then you're talking about some all-time high stuff. It might take a whole year for all these things to happen, but when it happens, sometimes it can happen in a hurry. So we'll see, right? One that I do have a position on is AMP. AMP was a very vicious downtrend here. It reversed it really throughout the end of 2023 into early 2024. It reversed the bear trend into a bull trend, right? It's been forming higher highs, higher lows. An equal high here as far as I'm concerned. So I do have a little bit of a Gann chart here. You can see how it basically was an arc breaker, right? Broke 1 arc, 2 arc, 3 arc, 4, got to the 5th arc up here, got rejected, came back down 2 arcs, right? Break 5, and then come back test 2. And then right now you're also trying to push through here, but we're having a hard time needing more energy to kind of push through here. We're trying to find some consolidation zone over here, trying to build up enough energy to kind of push through before we can go higher, right? The Ichimoku, well, yeah, first of all, we also have the ground support band here. That's going to be sort of support, right? It bounced off of that. The Ichimoku right now is serving as a little bit of resistance over here. So I think once you push through Ichimoku, it's going to go up to the arc up here without much question. And if it ends up pushing up there, then I think it could go up a lot higher, right? In addition to this being the arc right here, what else can it be? What is also the top of the Ichimoku cloud over here, right? So it's been on energy, push a lot of these resistance up here above. Get into the cloud over here. How it reacts after that, I don't know. But that's like double from where we're at over here. But yeah, that's what I'm thinking here for AMP. How much higher do I think AMP is going to go? Probably much higher. I don't really even want to like speculate right now, but if you're looking at the Fibonacci retracement all the way from here to there, you can see that I can totally see at least a cycle end 0.618 or 0.786, right? Which is going to be like 3 times or 5 times from here. It could go up a lot higher. It can make a 10x. It could even push up a lot higher. Whenever things go, it can go up in a hurry, right? It looks like there's just building a big giant base over here. So who knows what's going to happen next. Render. A lot of people were asking about this before. They're not really asking about this anymore because it's done absolutely jack, right? Why did people ask about it? Because in 2023, it was a darling. It went all the way from like 40 cents all the way for like 15 bucks or 13, 14 bucks, maybe not 15 bucks, right? A lot of gains have already been made. I'm a little bit worried about like a chart like this. A lot of gains have already been made. I just don't know whether or not this is going to be a darling moving forward. There's no guarantee of that, right? But if you look at the Ichimoku, you just turn off the Ichimoku here. What is it doing? It basically is just pushing from arc to arc, backtesting arc here. It looks like it wants to push through here, right? But not able to. Where you're going to find support here is 0.86, right? All these things are very logical. If it's able to hold 0.86, then it has a good chance of forming some pretty decent all-time highs here. So I do think some of these targets up here is going to hit. Maybe 1.272 is going to hit, by mid-June or something like that. That could be the end of the cycle. It pushes through up here to the angle in 1.4 and 4 here, or it pushes through the Gann horizontal line up here, or even wick up above to 1.618 here. That could also be a cycle top, right? There's no reason for me to think that it has to end here, with the exception that I think a lot of people already made a bunch of gains and they may be looking to kind of take some profits over here. It's just consulting sideways over here in a wedge. So we'll see what happens next. But I do like the fact that it's kind of bouncing off of the 0.886. It has some pretty good potential to kind of hit the arc and go up here, maybe sometime around Q1 and Q2 of 2025. It's what I'm thinking. This one also, a lot of people are pretty bullish on it from before because it ran up a lot in 2023. And it's following some pretty good market symmetry here where it basically just got rejected arc here, pushed through the arc, went to the next arc here, and come back down here, back test the Gann, the horizontal here, trying to push for the arc here, still not able to. We're hoping to hold the 0.786 here for the week. If we're not able to hold, you could come back and back test the zone down here again. That's entirely possible. It's underneath the support band, and it's underneath the Ichimoku. Anything goes, right? If you look at a 2-week Ichimoku cloud, is kind of getting to the point where, hey, maybe we're going to find some support and we can kind of go up here. But you can also be at risk for kind of breaking deep under the cloud over here during the next session. So I just don't see enough for me to say like, wow, you know, this is great. It's even a little bit underneath a rising 20-month moving average. Is turning a little bit flat here. So we'll see. I think this is going to have some bullish continuation. Is it going to hit up here to 1.618 and the arc up here, which is going to be like a 20x? Would it be able to do that? Maybe, or I mean, it just end up being a little bit more of a like muted bull cycle and gets up to like $7 or something like that. I think all of those are possibilities. It's still for the most part higher ends and higher lows. I don't think altcoin season is over yet, so I think that FET is probably going to be able to go up a lot higher over time. But I just don't know which target it's going to hit because a lot of gains have already been made in 2023. COTI, looking at COTI here, I do have a small position of this, and I think that whenever it decides to run, it could run up pretty beautifully because from here to there, it made an 8x. From like end of 2023 to early 2024, maybe like 8x from there, right? Since then, it's just been bouncing from arc to arc, and it's trying to find support here underneath. It's kind of hard to say where support is going to be, right? It's broken underneath the Ichimoku. It's broken underneath the Bull support band here. If I look at the 2-week chart here, look at the Ichimoku, you can see how it also kind of fell out of the Ichimoku cloud over here, right? So I don't know. I think it's just going to go through its own thing to consolidate here. Because overall, the market structure overall it's not bad, you know. Like this market structure over here is actually looking pretty decent. If you just look at the GAN, it's just kind of somewhere stuck in the middle. Definitely going to come back test the GAN arc down here again. No, I don't think so. I think it's just kind of following up a trend line. It's just kind of pushing up. I think it's probably going to end up pushing back about the horizontal and just kind of push through and see what happens. But at this point, it's a little bit on no man's land right here. So I'm probably just going to leave my position alone, not doing too much. I do have a altcoin here called CTSI. I think it's bouncing off an arc here. I think that it's probably getting ready to run here, but it's done absolutely nothing for like three years, building up a big giant base here. I do have a small position. I'm probably just going to let it be. I'm not going to add. I'm not going to subtract. I'm just going to let it be, right? A couple other ones I'm going to talk about. One that I do have is BOBA. BOBA is, I think it's like a layer 2 to Ethereum. It's a pretty small cap coin available on Coinbase. I just think it's holding an angle here and the 0.136 here perfectly. I just think whenever it decides to pump, like it had a test pump over here from October to March of 2024, whenever it did that, like it had monstrous pump that made kind of like a 13x or something like that, right? All it takes just a little bit of volume to do that. Right now, we're just kind of plumbing all the way back down here. Build up more energy here. I think whenever it decides to go, it can go up in a hurry. And it could really seriously challenge some really crazy things up here, like 0.76, 0.618, which is going to be a pretty tremendous game from here on out, right? Maybe even higher. All it takes just a little bit of volume with these kind of micro-cap coins, right? Another one I have is SUKU. I think it's holding the range here extremely well, about the 0.136 here. So we'll see whether or not we were able to break above the 0.236 here. Last time when it did that, it went up a lot. All it took just a little bit of volume. It went up from like 3 cents all the way to like 30 cents, like a 10x in a hurry, right? So right now it's just building a little bit of a base here. I think this base forming thing it's already doing what it needs to be doing. So I think it's going to do okay. Anyway, so it's close to like 30 minutes. Talk about a bunch of altcoins here that I normally look at. I hope you guys enjoy this video. The bottom line is this. The bottom line is this. I'm going to end the whole show here with this one thought here. The bottom line is that everything is going to do okay because it on the others chart, which is basically the total cryptocurrency market cap here, excluding the top 10 coins. Very good altcoin index. All it's really doing is just building up a big giant base here. And it looks like it wants to just explode to the upside. Like build a big giant cup here. Got back about the monthly Ichimoku, back tested tank, and it looks like it wants to run. I think whenever it wants to run, a lot of the altcoins that I talked about, they're going to do extremely well. Like it doesn't even matter. You can throw a dart. And like 80 or 90% of the time, you're going to end up making money from it. If this turns out to be the case, right? I mean, I cannot be absolute about it. But if this turns out to be the case, which I think that the likelihood is high, then really at some point in 2025, it's going to be like a dart throwing game. You throw something in it, you're probably going to make money out of it. The question is more trying to hold the gains and actually trying to not lose it. that's going to be the tough part, and I think that requires a little bit more discipline, and that might require maybe like a couple cycles for you to kind of go through before you are able to do that. Anyway, a little bit too long video here, so I'm going to stop here, but take care, guys. Have a good one. Bye.